Hi everybody! I am starting a brand new fabric covered art journal. So I thought I would go ahead and share the process of doing this because this is going to be learn as I go. I'm doing something totally different. I am using this beautiful fabric that I got at Joann last week when they had their 50% off coupon. I was thinking about doing a quilted fabric journal, but when I went to the store, I found this already quilted fabric, which I thought was fantastic. I loved the pattern. I really like this paisley look. The colors are perfect because it's like, you know, browns and blues, and then it's like accented with all this really, you know, pretty gold metallic. So I loved it. And then the back side of it is really great for the inside of a journal cover as well. And that's the reason why I went ahead and bought this, because everything is already done for me. I don't have to do any quilting. There's like a really nice diamond stitch on here. It's just really gorgeous. Now, this is kind of expensive. It was $20 a yard. And that's why I used the 50% off coupon, because I got a yard of this for yeah, 10 bucks. So, with my 50% off coupon. So anyway, I usually wait until the 50% coupons come out before I buy something, you know, this expensive. But anyway, so that is my plan for this, to make a fabric covered art journal. Now, I am going to use as well the Canson watercolor. This is 140 pound watercolor paper, and it's cold pressed watercolor paper, and it is 9 by 12, which means that this is going to be a 6 by 9 journal. So to do the 6 by 9, because that's what this is going to fold down to, it'll be 6 inches by 9 inches. And I am going to cut out of this a 15 by 10 piece of fabric. Now, I am, also I'm doing 2 of these, because I'm doing one for me and I'm doing one for a friend. So, I am going to start cutting this down to the 15 by, what did I say? 15 by 10, and I'll be back. Well, before I said I'll be back, I did forget to mention that I am going to use, to do these journals that I do, I did buy a, I don't know what this is, 18 by 24, I think? Yeah, 18 by 24 cutting mat. You need one kind of relatively big to do this, you know, this size journal. I do bigger journals and I don't have a cutting mat for that. But, so what I do is I do match this up, and I think I'm going to come down to here, bring it in an inch, just so I can see where I'm cutting, because I kind of want this to be, you know, really even. So I am going to bring this down. Now, I'm kind of having to finagle this. I'm hoping my top is pretty lined up. Okay, so because I've come in an inch, I'm going to need to do my markings at, and let me think for a minute, because it's 15 by 10. 10 is going to be up and down, and the 15 is going to be horizontal. So I want to go 15 inches in on this cut. Man, I got to think about this. Hello, am I doing that right? So yeah, so I'm going to go 16 because I've come in an inch. So I'm cutting at the 16 line. I'm going to grab my T-square so I can line this up. Of course, now I can't see, but where's my 15? So 16, I need to come in 16, which is right there. Alright, so there's 16 inches, which means this should measure 15. Because like I said, I've come in an inch. So there we go. All right, so there's my 15 across. Now I need to do 10 inches in right here. This is basically going to be the size of my journal, which now I'm looking at it, that's really kind of small, but I don't normally work in smaller journals, but for this one, this is what the paper I have. So I'm going to fold this to fit into a journal. So this is the size I need. So, all right, 15. I'm going to take this metal ruler, do my, oh, sorry, I need to go 11 inches. That's why I was getting confused, because I've come down an inch here. So actually more than an inch. I need to bring this up. I can already see that's off. Okay. So there's my 16 inches. I'm going to kind of come over a little bit. Yeah, so there's the 15 inches. Okay, so coming down 11 inches, because that'll make it 10, because I'm allotting for my, let me just measure this to make sure. Yeah, okay. All right, so this is where I am going to make my first cut, and I think, yeah. So you can see this 1 yard of material is really going to make a lot of journals. So yeah, it's $10 for a yard if you use a 50% off coupon, but it's totally worth it because you get a lot of journals out of it. Okay, and I'm just going to use a rotary cutter here, and I am going to start cutting my material. I'm trying not to cut my finger. I am not a sewer or a quilter or any of that. So for me, I kind of, you know, struggle with certain aspects of this because I just, you know, that's not my craft. So, all right, now I'm going to have to come out a little bit. There we go. All right. So I'm going to catch that line, come up here. And this is where I really needed to use my T-square, so I was make sure that it's straight, but this is plastic, so I really don't like cutting against it because I could actually cut the T-square, but I'm just going for it. Okay, so there is my material. Now, I'm going to have to cut off that top strip there, but, you know, just so you can see what I'm doing, that is how I did it. And if you take, let me cut a folio out real quick just so you can see how this is going to start to come together. So you can see this is going to fit in here like so. So you'll open this up and there will be your, you know, there will be your nice little, when I get the signatures together anyway, the signatures of your journal. So I think I'm going to do 2 signatures of 5. I hope I gave myself enough room. I'm going to do 2 signatures of 5 folios here. So basically 5 sheets. And I don't know if I'm going to put inclusions in yet or not, but I'm going to wait until I get a little further in the project to see how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to cut another one of these out because, like I said, I'm doing 2 of them all at the same time, and I'll be back now. Alright, so to finish the edges, because on this quilt fabric, it is, you know, that is exposed, the inside is, of the quilting sandwich. So to cover that up, what I decided to do is take some of just this regular cotton seam binding that I bought from Walmart, and I've cut enough length to cover the 2 journals, and what I want to do, and because I don't want, you know, stark white against, you know, that, I am going to come in and color this with the Distress Stains. I picked out the Vintage Photo, and I'm going to go over it in certain places with the tarnished brass just to tie those colors into the colors of that fabric. Now, I am a big sissy when it comes to getting my hands stained. I don't mind having ink, you know, getting my fingers all inky from paints and water, you know, soluble paints and stuff like that. But when it comes to these stains, it takes forever for that stuff to get off your hands, no matter how much you scrub them. So I do use reusable gloves when I'm doing this. And I've never done this as of yet, so I've done it on that rayon seam binding, but not on this cotton, so I don't even know how this is going to turn out. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is just squish down on it so I get good coverage. And then I'm going to go back and do the other side as well on this. So I'm just going to pick up some of that ink that's underneath, you know. I'll do that more when I'm done than I will right now, but... Alright, there's a lot of this, so I'm not going to make you sit here and watch how to do this, or watch me do this, I mean, because again, my editing software doesn't allow me to do the fast speed motion, so I can just speed through this real quick for you in the editing process. So I'm going to have to cut off here and I'll be back. So I'm just going to go over the top of this, turn around, do the back side, and get this seam binding covered up with some color. Okay, so this is dried now, and I took it to my ironing board, and first of all, I had to iron it completely flat because it was folded in thirds. So I did iron it flat first, and then I went back over it again. I folded it just right in half, you know, as you can see there. I folded it in half and then ironed it, pressed it again so that it'll kind of keep this shape. As you can see, there are like some, you know, exposed threads showing here from where, you know, it's starting to fray a little bit. I like that look. I don't want to do anything to change that. So that's the way it's getting sewn onto the, you know, seam here of this. So what I'm going to do is take this to my sewing machine. Yes, I'm not a sewer, but I have it just for these kind of projects. And I am going to just wrap it around. If I can get my fingers around this. Maybe if I just lay it straight down. Or maybe not. I'm doing this ass backwards, so this isn't turning out very well in the recording here. I'm just trying to give you a general idea of what I'm getting ready to do. But of course it's not cooperating. Anyway, so that's why good God almighty, this is why I, you know, folded that folded, ironed that fold into the seam binding because I thought it would be easier to manage, but yeah, it doesn't seem to help. Okay, so that is what that's gonna look like, and I think I'm just gonna do you know, as close to the edge over here as possible when I'm running the stitch on this on my sewing machine, but you'll be better able to see, you know, how that's gonna happen once it's done and I come back. I don't really know how I'm gonna do the ends here. I'll probably just wind up cutting it, and I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, this is what I'm doing. I'm sewing the seam binding now, and yeah, you can see how that color came out by ooh, listen to that thunder. Florida afternoon showers. Okay, so there is that seam binding. I don't know if you're really gonna see the tarnished brass metallic. It just gives it a little bit of sheen, but it really didn't do anything to the color. It may have muted the color a little bit, but not too much. Okay, I am gonna go to the sewing machine and I'll be back. Okay, well, as I said, not a sewer, just not my forte. So, when you are sewing this binding down, make sure that you watch the back side as well. I did really good and without watching the back side, because I was so concentrated on the front that I totally forgot about the back side. So I hit a point there toward the end where yeah, I missed the material altogether. So after I got done, I looked and I'm like, oh crap. So I had to go back and I had to basically sew my material over my binding instead of the other way around, because, you know, it was already completely done and I wasn't going to rip this out and start over again. So, so yeah, it's a little faulty, but hey, that's part of being homemade. You've you got these mistakes, and I love how we crafters say, oh, it just adds to the character when we make a mistake. It's like, no, I just made a mistake, and yeah. So, but hey, this is going to my friend. I don't care what it looks like. Oh my gosh, I'm just kidding. I could send her the other one, but of course I screwed up on it too, so I'm just a mess, man. Okay, so anyway, this is what it looks like. So I did use an kind of a contrasting thread because I wanted the stitch to be seen. You know, I definitely want this to look like it's homemade. So I did do a contrasting stitch. It's just like an ivory thread. And yeah, you kind of have to finagle with it a little bit because, I mean, it is so narrow, and if there are any sewers out there watching my channel who know of a better way of doing that, please let me know, because that was kind of a pain in the ass. But, you know, maybe there's some kind of seam binding that you can get that, you know, when you iron it on, it kind of sticks. I don't know. Anyway, this is what I had, is what I worked with, so this is how it turned out. Okay, so you can see it's a lot more finished looking than it was before when this, you know, quilting was exposed in the sandwich part of this. So anyway, and then another problem was, oh, now what do I do about these, you know, corners? Because it's like, how do you finish those off? Because again, not a sewer, I don't know. There's probably a way you can do like, you know, angle cuts on that and, you know, have it look, you know, really good. But in my inexperience, I didn't know. So what I decided to do was use these little Tim Holtz corners here. They're perfect because they have that, you know, the side that can fold over. So not only are you covering your, you know, front here, that looks kind of wonky, but you're also covering the back as well. So I went ahead and did that already with, you know, when I wasn't recording, just so I could have most of it done. But here's what it looks like. Sorry, I've got this thing just twisted all around. So this is what it looks like, you know, with the corners on them. and here is the back side. So you can see it really just takes care of that unfinished look there in the corners. So that is what I'm going to do now. And of course the first two I did went on so easily, and the third one that I did, that last one, it was a pain in the butt. So this one's probably going to be the same way. Okay, so you just fold it over, see, it's popping out. Okay, I gotta sit down and do this. Take my glasses off. Okay, so I gotta get really up in this thing. Because I'm trying not to fold, you know, the seam over too terribly much. But every time I go to the top one, I keep pulling this out. So it's important to hold both sides down when you're doing this. Okay, and I'm going to hold on to this because this is where I kept losing it before. So just really hold on to it, because what you have to do is I have to hammer this down. You really want to get this good and tight on here, you know, like I've done over here, you know, so that when you pull on it, it won't come off. So I'm going to go over to where my sewing machine is, because it has a wood top panel on it, and I have this craft hammer here, and I'm just going to hammer that down really good and solid so that it won't move anywhere. And you don't want to do any light tapping on that, because like I said, you want that to be able to not move, so you want to whack the heck out of it. So that is exactly what I just did. Alright, so you can see it's on there really good. Okay, so sewn the seam binding and got our corners on really good, and this is what it looks like on the back side so far. Here's the front side. And what I've decided to do is, because I messed the stitching up over here, I'm going to make this the back part of my cover. So this is going to be my front cover right here. Okay, so before I get to the spine and stitching the signatures in, I have one more thing to do before I start that process, and that is to work the closure for this. So I at first thought I was going to use an elastic band with a button, a la Donna Downey, the way she does hers, and then I changed my mind and decided, because mainly I did not have I didn't have any brown. I have black and white stretch cord, but I don't have brown, and I'm being real picky about the colors on this. So what I decided to do is use one of the Tim Holt buckles. This is my new favorite now for closures. And anyway, the Tim Holt buckle, and I have this brown grosgrain ribbon. So that's going to require a little bit more stitching on my sewing machine, because I'm going to need to get a length of this sewed down right in the center here. And so I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and give this like a lot of stitches right here, because this is going to be constantly opened and closed. At least I hope so. The person I'm giving this to is hopefully going to be using this. So I really want this to be good and sturdy and strong. So going back and forth with the machine on that. But yeah, you know what, I was gonna go ahead and attach this, but I think it'll be easier to place it after I get this stitched down. So I'll be back. Okay, so you can see right here I just did like a square stitch around. Like I said, I did a bunch of forward and backward stitching on that. So yeah, you can see it. You can see the stitching. This is the back side, but again, you know, you can, I guess you could do some kind of applique over that if you, you know, are kind of picky about that and don't want it to be seen, you could do the applique there, and you could also do an applique, you know, over this as well. I like the exposed stitching, and so I'm not doing anything like that. I am leaving it as is. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to line up the corners here so I can figure out where I need to punch the hole for my buckle closure here. And now I've also got to take into account that it's not going to be as fat a book with just the unpainted signatures in here. And over time, as you know, somebody is working in this, it will you know, it'll fill up and it expand. So I need to allow for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to start out with this crocodile first. I don't know if I need my big bite or not. And just trying to see what kind of hole. I think I can get away with the smaller hole on this thing. And just try to figure out where I'm going to lay my buckle. And I'm just eyeballing everything. I am not measuring a thing. It's the same with this too. When I was at my machine, I just eyeballed where I thought the center was and just started stitching. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm going to do here too. I'm just going to kind of try to figure out where it's, you know, going to need to come. And I think I'm going to do it like right there. Now, this I will need to mark because I want my ribbon to come straight across. I don't want it to be wonky. So, of course, knowing my luck, it's probably going to be wonky anyway. So I'm going to take a black Sharpie so that it is really, you know, so it can really be seen on here. Again, I just want to line this up. Okay. And hopefully this crocodile will reach. If not, I'll have to get my big bite out. Okay, gotta take my glasses off again. Ah, where's my hole? I don't think this is gonna reach. Fudge cracker, no. It is not. I gotta get my big bite out. Alright, total stinker. Okay. Alright. Oh man, now I gotta find that hole or mark again. Okay, here we go. Alright, I'm going to have to do this off camera, you guys, because I have to get my eyeball right up on this thing, and I can't do that and be in frame, so... Good enough. I'm going to keep that out for when I do my journal. Okay, so I got my hole in it. Just going to get my buckle. Line it up. Grab my brad. And I know I'm not doing this in frame. I'm sorry, you guys, but oh man, see, I'm dropping stuff because I'm trying to do it in the camera and I can't. Okay. I'll flip this over. Close the brad up. Maybe. I don't know how sturdy that's gonna be. It's a metal buckle. I'm not worried about that, but I am worried about how much pressure it's gonna put on this hole back here. I'll have to think about that because I may want to reinforce that somehow. Not sure how yet, but I will have to think about that. Okay, so I am going to wait until I get the signatures stitched in before, now I can use my crocodile, this one, when I get ready to punch the holes, you know, for this buckle closure to fit through. Because what it's going to do is kind of come through here, you know, and then it'll close like that, just, you know, like a belt. And then I can cut off any excess here that I think, you know, may be a little too much, even with the full journal. So, but I'm going to wait until I get my signatures in before I cut that and punch my holes. So right now I'm going to work on getting the signatures done because that's the next step. So here we go. I just tore out my 10 pages from my 9x12 watercolor paper. Where's my bone folder? Arrgh, I got so much crap out here now. Here we go. Okay, so again, that's something you've seen a gazillion times. I ain't inventing anything new here. I just match up the corners here and then fold it down. I do that on all 10 pieces of paper. Again, I normally, when I do these videos, I usually don't even show this part of it because it seems to me it's like a waste of your time watching me do this because it's pretty easy, but you know, I think I will. I think I will. This looks like it's going to take a few minutes, so I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm going to fold, you know, the 5 pages together and fold them inside each other, and then do another set of 5 pages the exact same way. So I have 2 signatures of 5 pages, which will make 10 pages per signature. And I think, as well, I may come in with some of these time cards. Again, a la Donna Downey, her inspiration journals, where she has all these inclusions, either manila envelopes or, you know, time cards, stuff like that. So these are just some I got from Office Depot. So I may fold up some of those and stick them in here too. Not sure yet. Alright, I'll be back. Well, that's a total stinker. Look at my fingers. So I picked up some of that stain. I don't know if it was from the craft mat that I didn't get all cleaned up, or if this is, you know, kind of seeping out from where I stained that. I'm not sure, but my inky fingers got kind of all over the signatures here. Look at that. So my friend is going to get dirty pages, dirty fingerprint, and my DNA is all over these signatures. So sorry, but you'll probably be gessoing over all this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it would have been prettier presentation had I not had these inky fingers. Okay, so I did decide to put the inclusion in here. So I didn't do it on the center of each of the signatures because that's really a pain in the butt to try to get stitched in. I don't like dealing with that center thing there. It's okay when it's tucked inside the pages here, but yeah, having it there and there, ugh, no, sorry. Did that once before and I won't ever do it again. So these are ready to go. I did take the other signature, and I have like binder clips on them. When I go to punch my holes, that's kind of necessary so that your pages won't shift when you're putting the holes in it. Okay, so now I have matched up the corners the best that I can, and I'm going in here and well, I don't guess that'll help. I'm going in here and I'm just really folding a crease here on this, and I want it to be visible when I open this up, because that's how I'm going to mark my holes. I have got, let me find them. I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to go with these really big grommets right here. I have these super duper big ones. I was trying to decide if I want to use those or if I just want to use these silver ones that are not quite as big, but yeah, you know, I think I'm going with these big gold ones. So I'm going to need 3. These are the two-sided grommets, you know, that have the male and the female part. And it comes with, you know, this big, huge honkin' setting tool, the hole punch, a little wood block, and so I'm going to need 3 of those. 1 for the center, and then 2, 1 on each side. So 3, let me find the little, there we go. Okay, keep those out. I'll need 1 for mine when I get around to putting it together. Okay, I'm gonna sit down. I think I need my Sharpie. Yeah, okay, and a ruler. Oh boy, where's my ruler? Here we go. Okay. This, unfortunately, is necessary because, okay, so I can see my line that I folded, so I have a pretty good crease on that. And this should be 10 inches, thereabouts, and it is. So I want to go right smack dab in the center here with a hole. And, boy, that's a really big hole, isn't it? Big hole. Yeah, I was trying to decide. Maybe I do need to go with the smaller ones because it is kind of a small cover. No, you know what? Everything's gold on this, so I'm gonna stick with these. The only ones I have are silver and the smaller ones. Okay, so I'm gonna go smack dab in the center here. Ah, shoot, and of course smack dab in the center would be a brown line. I won't be able to see that. I'm gonna make that really big since my hole is big. Okay, and then I'm gonna come down, how many inches is that? So 5, I think I'm gonna come down to, golly, 2. 2? 2. I'm questioning myself. 2? 2? 2? Yeah, okay. So that's 5 down to 2, so that's 3 inches. Coming down 3 inches from the center on the bottom, 3 inches on the top, which will put it at 8. This is where my holes are going to get marked. Alright, I've never used this tool before, so I'm going to take my wood block. I hope I'm doing this right. I may have to break and go to watch a YouTube video to see how to set these. Not quite sure. Okay, and I'm just going to put it underneath. There we go. Kind of center it. Okay. And then here's a little hole punch. I say little, it's actually kind of big. And I hope it's going to go through this. And I think I needed, instead of this craft hammer, I think I really needed a, like a real hammer, so. And I hope I don't break my, well, this sucks. Yeah, that's not cutting a hole very good at all. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this off camera, you guys, because I cannot do this on my glass top counter, and I do not want to shatter that. Do not feel like another trip up to IKEA to replace it. But I'm going to take this over to my wood table and pound the crap out of this and go downstairs and get a real hammer as well and bang the crap out of that to get my holes. And then I'll just do the same thing. I'll set it, and I'll be back. Okay, that sucked. That really sucked. So you probably get away with setting like smaller grommets than these, because I did get these like shower curtain grommets because I really didn't want to fight with, you know, tying ribbon through here. So but I probably should have gone with those smaller ones. I just realized though, those smaller ones, I bought the grommets but not the setting tool, so I really had to go with these. Or wait to put it together anyway. Anyway, so yeah, I had to go downstairs in my garage on the concrete floor and set these because I had to bang the heck out of them like 20 times, both to get the hole cut in the material and also to set these things. So, yeah, and I live in Florida, so it's like 92, 93 degrees out, which means in my garage it was more like 100. So, a little warm out there. So anyway, this is how it turned out, and then here is the back side. Now, a pro for using the what am I trying to say? The two-part grommets is that you have a cleaner finish. It just looks nicer than those eyelets that you squash down and then you just see the back side, all the prongs sticking out. So I like the finished look of these types of grommets instead. So, but I really should have gone with the smaller one. This is way too, these holes are way too big for this size of a journal, but hey, I'm going with it. That's my favorite thing to say. I'm going with it. Alright, so what I did is I have already cut the holes in one of the signatures, and this time I just used, I said screw it, I'm gonna try to get my ribbon through the big hole. What is this? 3/16 hole punch on my big bite. Instead of trying to use, you know, that grommet setting tool, because yeah, that was, yeah, not easy. I need to find an alternative for that. Anyway, don't think there is one, but anyway, so I've already cut the holes in it and marked it. So now I've just taken one of the pages from that signature that I already have the holes in, and I'm matching it up with my second signature, going back in with my Sharpie and just marking in the center where I'm going to be punching the holes. Okay, so I can put that aside now. Okay, and now I am, oh, you can see where I had my holes cut on my other one. Okay, now I did kind of go off center here, so when I line this up with my big bite, I am going to make sure I get that more on that line. So hold on a second. Okay, sorry, I just needed to make sure. Again, I had to have it right up to my eyeball so that I could see. You know what, you guys? I gotta punch this out of the camera view, sorry. But all I'm doing is lining it up right in the center of that fold where I have those marks. Okay. All right. So now my signatures are done. I think I'm going to keep this bound right now with the binder clips. Okay, so let me get this straight. This is my front. Okay, I don't know how much of this ribbon I'm going to need. I'm using the same coordinating ribbon for binding my signatures in that I used for the closure here. So it's just this brown grosgrain ribbon that I got from Joann. And what I'm going to do, I don't know how much of this I'm going to need, because I'm going to go down each side here. Down there, and then come out the middle and tie it. So I'm not really sure how much of this I'm going to need. Oh boy. I always hate measuring this stuff. I always do either way too much or not enough. Or it's just always just a little too short. Alright. I'm going to measure this one out for the next cut, but I'm not going to cut this yet just in case it is a little too long. Alright, I've got that marked off. Okay, here we go. I need my tweezers. I'm going to use those to fold this over. Go in, pick up my signature, try to get this in. Again, I may not be able to do this in camera frame because, again, I have to have this right up to my eyeball because I can't see, but woo! Yeah, I totally frayed that, so that'll have to be cut off. Am I doing this right? Let me think about this for a minute. Yeah. Okay. And to think about this, it's like, Alright. Okay, so I went up that hole, and now kind of want this to be straight. I'm just gonna wind that around there a little bit. And again, sorry if you can't see this, but you get the gist of what I'm doing here. Okay, now I'm just going to even it out, pull on each side, and try to straighten this out. So I have equal sides, amounts of ribbon on each side. Okay. I want it to be tight. Okay, now this is where it's going to get super duper tight. This is why I probably needed bigger holes, because two ribbons coming through this little bitty hole here may not work. We'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do when I come out, I'm going to come out on each side. So one side of this ribbon is coming out on this side, and the other one will come out on this side. At least I hope. And again, I'm just going to tighten that up, because I want these signatures to be tight in here. Okay, then hopefully I'll be able to get this through. Ooh-wee, I don't know. Kind of forcing the hole to get bigger here. Oh boy. Again, you guys, this is the first time I've ever attempted to make this journal, so I am struggling with it. I think what I'm going to wind up having to do here is just make this hole bigger, because I can't get both ribbons through it. The one ribbon on this side went through, but to try to connect this so that it comes out the other side and I can tie it off, I'm going to have to make this hole bigger so that I can do that. So I am going to do that, get the other signature in, and then I'll come back to finish tying it off. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. So that, when you're doing the signatures, that center hole of your watercolor paper has definitely got to be punched 2 times. So you need a side-by-side hole with a 3/16 hole punch to get that ribbon to go through there, because it's not going, well, at least if you use this kind of ribbon, it ain't going through there. So anyway, finally got it through. I have both signatures, you know, with the ribbon on each opposing side of this centerpiece here. So now I'm just getting ready to tie this in, and what do I want to do? The thing is about these journals is that if I don't tie a knot, then, well, I was going to say, if I don't tie a knot, I was thinking about not tying a knot so that, you know, in case the person I'm sending this to decides they want to take, once they're through with this, it's reusable. They can use this again and put new signatures in it. And, but I was just thinking they've got to rebind it anyway, so they'll have to rebind it with their own ribbon anyway. So I guess it doesn't matter if I tie a knot in it or not. I'm worried about that coming out, so I don't think I have enough to tie a bow. I suck at bow making. If you've seen any of my videos where I was trying to do this, you know. I truly do suck at it. I don't think I left myself enough room here either, so yeah, I can't tie a knot or a bow. Kind of a stinker. It's a combination of 2 things, my chubby fingers and my nails. Ugh. There, how about that? And, whoa, that's a really crappy bow. That's a really crappy bow. Now, I could, I suppose, cut those ends off just to make it look neater. I suppose I will do that. There we go. Now, if that bow comes undone, she's screwed, because there's not enough to tie a bow in there. It'll just have to be a double knot or something. But anyway, so there is the outside binding on this journal. And yeah, I think I like that. It's the first time I've used ribbon to bind an art journal. I've always used just the wax linen thread. Now, I did notice when I was putting this together that I did have more space down here on the bottom than at the top. So it probably wouldn't hurt if you actually did measure the thing. So, and again, this is something, you know, masking tape will have to be put down the center here of these pages so that the wet media doesn't filter through to the next. So Anyway, yeah, this is how it turned out. So there's all the pages. So it should be 20 pages total for doing some art in, and then also the inclusions. Okay, the very last thing left to do is to do the holes for the ribbon. You know, I'm thinking I probably need to do some kind of reinforcement. I still haven't figured out how to reinforce this either. I'm thinking I probably need to use like some kind of like Fabri-Tac glue or something to really set that, and maybe put something over it. Not really sure yet. I am going to use my Crocodile to hole set holes, I mean, here in the ribbon. Right now, I just don't know exactly where I'm going to put them. I think my first one's going to be like, try not to lose my spot. I think it's going to be like right here. I'm using the small, what is that, an 1/8? I think it's an 1/8 hole punch on my Crocodile. And I guess I could put like a hole reinforcer, like from the Tiny Tabs and Tags die, Tim Holtz Alterations die. I guess I could put some kind of reinforcement hole around that. I'm just worried about this ribbon fraying, you know, with it going in and out like that. So, or maybe I'll just leave it as is and let the person I'm giving it to punch holes for however they want to do it, because this is basically the start here. So it's going to go through like that, and I can get it up. Sorry, I'm just like blathering right now. I'm working this out as I'm going, because like I said, this is the first time I've made this. So just kind of talking my way through it. Yeah, I'm not sure about that buckle. Not sure about that Tim Holtz buckle there. So yeah, I'm obviously going to cut some of the ribbon off of this because it is just a little too long, I think, even with the, you know, filling this thing up. I may finish this off with, you know, with the charm as well. So maybe I'll like just tie some kind of a, oh, but then it won't go through. Never mind, I'm not going to do that. I was going to say I'll finish it off with a charm, but if I do that, it won't go through the slide there. So, yeah, you can't really do any kind of fancy adornment or anything here. So I might as well just cut it off. And I'm thinking she won't need any more holes than that right there. So, okay, so this is the completed art journal that I am getting ready to mail off. And sorry it was a really long video. Again, I was just working the process out with you guys. And yeah, leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about this journal. And I'll see you guys next time.